All right, so hopefully everybody sees this and hopefully everybody's in the right seminar, that being the year-end processes for CYMA. Um, this is going to be your basic tell you what we're going to tell you, and then tell you what we told you. So the first steps in order to close the year, to do it correctly, you're going to have to be in CYMA version 19 or CYMA version 20. Now, on the one hand, that's real easy to figure out. On the other hand, so for example, you can see it right there, we're in CYMA 20. But if you need to know the exact version, you'll go into help and then to about CYMA, and you'll see in this case I'm on 20.0.0. Now CYMA has not come out. I've already gotten several phone calls on this. CYMA has not come out with their 2021 payroll update yet. I expect it, I'm going to say, within the next week. And so when that shows up, I know that we will be making phone calls like crazy to get in touch with you and to upgrade you. Marcia Hallman, I'm going to call you out because I know you're still on 18, and we'll do both the version update as well as the payroll update at the same time. So we'll save you from having to ask a question maybe. Make sure that you have the new year created. Now, I've already had a couple, 3 phone calls on that where folks have said, well, gee whiz, I can't put any 2021 transactions in. And the reason you can't do that is because you've not gone into System Manager and maintain and accounting periods. And you because you only do this once a year, it's easy to forget. But you need to just, it's very, very simple. And in fact, I would do 2 or 3 years. So it's going to go ahead and assume that you're using the same reporting periods. When you click save, it's going to ask you if you really, really mean it. And then when you close, it's going to spend some time configuring. So if you need to do this, do it when you have some time to have get everybody out of CYMA and make sure that you've got some time for this to do a configuration. It can take a little while. And quite frankly, I recommend that you do it on the server where it will go a lot faster. Close the fourth quarter in payroll. This isn't mission critical, but by the same token, what happens is for the calculations of SUTA and FUTA, if you don't close it, it doesn't reset it to 0 and begin calculating again. Now, the good news is that this is self-healing. And so, you know, on your, let's say your first payroll, or until you get it done, you may be showing 0 liability for state and federal unemployment, but after you do close the fourth quarter, then it catches up with itself. Like I say, it's self-healing, and the system goes back and figures out that you haven't done that, and it will withhold on the first 9 or the first 7, whichever number you've got for your state. And the way that we do that is real simple. I know that you've done it before, but we're going to go into here, process, and we're going to close the quarter. And we have a choice here of sending checks to history. Now, I had an experience just this morning where some people had sent some stuff to history really before they were ready. And so some of their reports did not come out as nice as they wanted because they had done that. Now in the fourth quarter, it's fine to do that. You're aware that the system wants to make sure that you've done all your necessary reports, and you're aware, no doubt, that you've done this in the past, that the system wants you to check off the things that you can control. The system goes ahead and double checks on item 2 and 3 to make sure that you've done those, and it'll tell you, but you have to do those these other 4, and you know, swear on a Bible that you did these things before you close the period. And again, that's not mission critical, but I consider it to be a pretty good idea, and it might save you a support call. The CYMA payroll update, we've talked about that. That will only be for 19 or 20. At least that's what they've done in the past, where they've only gone back 1 version. So the current version is version 20. That will go back to version 19. If you're on 18 or older, the system will not do that for you. Now, the CYMA payroll update should also have the new 1099 form as well as the new 1099 instructions. So for those of you that are needing to produce 1099s, be aware that the 1099 NEC should be a part of the payroll system. You're going to need to purchase forms, and whether you purchase them from CYMA Forms or from us or from Office Depot, it's always handy to have those ready when you need to. You cannot close your payroll year until you have printed your W-2s, so be aware of that. And then the obvious: run all necessary reports from any module. Run your agings, trial balances, financials, run your 941 and balance that, and any other reports that you need that are part of what you collect. And oops, got carried away there. So after that, you don't have to do these things in any particular order, but closing the modules, the AR and the AP, that is going to send things to history. Now, when you close, if you're in accounts payable, it's an example, and AR is just the other side of the coin. When you do close period 12, it is going to check this, and it's going to move the invoices to history. That will have, you won't have a choice. Every other month, if you're using this feature, you do have a choice, but on period 12, you do not. And of course, we've got the prerequisites, and it looks like I haven't done anything. But sometimes people don't want stuff to go to history. And again, keep in mind the AR and the AP, they're just mirror images of each other. And so what happens here also is very similar over there. So if you don't want this stuff to go to history, you want to keep it current. And again, we come across that every once in a while. You go up to maintain and you go to configuration. And what you'll do is you'll just say, all right, I am in 2021. I am in period 1. And that way my year is closed. You can't see the air quotes I just put around that. But it's going to come up here and tell me that the world as we know it is going to end. But that'll be okay. We'll survive. And so closing those out, again, it's your choice as to whether you actually want to close it out or whether you want to just advance the period the way that we talked about. We would want to recalculate payroll balances. We would want to recalculate vendor balances before we print the W-2s or the 1099s. Now, very much recommend that you do these at the server. It will be a whole lot faster. And again, it'll save you a support call telling me, gee whiz, I started this and it's barely moved and it's already been 30 minutes. I've already had a couple of those phone calls and I'm welcome, I'm glad to take them, but I'll try and save you the trouble because it will take some time. If you do it on the server, it will be quite a bit quicker. So let me show you where that happens. Again, we're going to go back to the System Manager. We're going to go to System, and we're going to go to the Utilities. And you have the choice down here of Recalculate Balances. And you can see that we have AP balances and we have payroll balances. Now this can take some time, and you're going to select, usually you would just do Find Now, which would be all your employees. You're going to recalculate. I'm not going to do that because it's going to take, again, we're going to try to get you out early rather than hold you late. But sometimes you want to do this and then go to lunch or go get a cup of coffee and then come back. But that ensures that your totals are as accurate as they possibly can be. Like I said, you want to do that for payroll, and you would want to do that for your vendors. Print your W-2s and print your 1099s. I'm sure you're familiar with where that is, but just to make sure, we're going to come down to payroll in this particular case, and we're going to process. It's part of an end of year process, which makes sense. We're going to go here and do the 1090 or W-2s, and we're going to go here. Now, if you're an Atrix subscriber or a CYMA forms, tax forms subscriber, you are able to do this through Atrix if you wish. We're going to address it as being done directly here. And hopefully I hit the right one. There you go. Now, usually what you would do is, of course, you identify what year you're working in. You can select how you want it to be sorted. Usually the first thing you would do is you would go ahead and take a look at the proof listing. And this is going to show you what they will show. Obviously, it's not a W-2, but it's showing you where all the boxes are and what all is going to happen there. And there's our friend Larry Baker. I've known Larry for the past almost 30 plus years. And so you were able to check this. The really nice thing is that when you go to the end, you have all of your totals. And so you can double check this compared to your 4941s and make sure that everything ties out. So here's your W3 proof. There's all your numbers, and you can make sure that that ties out to your 4941s. Electronic filing, you're able to do that if you have the right registration, because the system does require an additional registration for electronic filing. Custom form, in this particular case, you would select your W-2 and what the item that you're going to use. Not sure why that's fighting me. Shame on it. Let's go back there again. Now, again, this top one should be the Atrix choice, and it is. And you would want to select that if you're an Atrix or a CYMA Forms subscriber. In accounts payable, real simple, you would go to process and you would calculate and print 1099s. So you would go into here and usually you would not need to put any conditions in here. You do get to identify which particular form you wish to use. So in some cases, obviously historically we've done 1099 miscellaneous quite often, but you might have some interest income that comes up every once in a while. Go ahead and calculate. And what did I forget? Oh, you have to have your form selected down here as well. So 1099 miscellaneous. And you go ahead and calculate it. There's nobody there, which is great. Oh, no wonder. Let's do this. Maybe we'll get lucky. There we go. Now, if you need to override, you're able to go in here and say, oh, wait a minute, that really shouldn't be 3,600. That should be 3,400 as an example. Now that will stick only as long as this session. The minute you leave here, you have to come back, you recalculate, and you would have to make this correction again. So again, just to be aware of that. And then once you're happy with this, you can go ahead back to your other tab and you can print your 1099s. W-2s, you are able to get a submission ready form out of CYMA. 1099s, they do not do that at this time. All right. Let's go back here. So 1099s, we talked about submitting with Atrix. The state, we can help you file with your state. In some cases, the state will take the federal format as far as filing electronically. In other cases, obviously, we have to tweak it and help you with that. Also, same with your 1099s. In some cases, you may want to file your 1099s electronically. That does require an additional registration with CYMA, but you can certainly do that. And so we want to, what Bob normally recommends, you don't have to do this, but what I tend to recommend is number one, pack and reindex your data files. This again is something that I would do on the server, and then I would recalculate the GL balances. Again, both of those should be done on the server, and both of those are part of those CYMA utilities in System Manager. So we're going to go here, we're going to go to System, Utilities, Pack and Reindex right here. And normally you would just select all and you would go ahead and pack. It is recommended that you make a backup of your data before you do this, just for peace of mind, and certainly everybody has to be out of CYMA before you can do that. Then we also have under System, Utilities, recalculate balances, and here's where you would recalculate your general ledger. And what that does, once again, is it makes sure that everything, from time to time, I get a phone call that says my trial balance or my income statement doesn't match my ledger. And what the cure is to do this right here to recalculate GL balances, and then the system is telling the same story in both places. but I strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you to do that at the server. It's another thing where I get phone calls. It's been doing it for 30 minutes. The little bar's only moved like 1/8 of an inch. And quite frankly, there's nothing I can do at that point. Any action we take will ruin what's been done so far. So patience is extremely important. Now, when you actually close the GL is up to you. So I've got these in the order I would wish them to be. You can start a new year without having closed the previous year. Maybe you want to keep it open until your audit is finished, and then you want to put in whatever transactions the auditor reclassifications that the auditor has given you, and then close the year, which works very, very well. Or the other choice is you may want to do a prior year adjustment. Maybe your policies and procedures in your organization require you to close your GL on 12/31. On the day of 12/31, not the as of, but on the actual day. We run into that from time to time, and that's not a problem because we have a feature here called prior year adjustments. And so going back here, if we go into the GL and we go to enter, we have a thing called prior year adjustments. Sometimes folks will ask, can I reopen the year? Well, we don't reopen the year, but what you can do is post this back to the year. The system, for lack of a better phrase, recloses it, and then you are able to, again, put those audit entries. So in this case, if we're going to select the year, obviously, we're going to select the month. Usually it would be period 12. Document, let's say work paper. And then you can work down through here, debit and credit, just like real accounting, and do whatever corrections the auditor has asked you to do. And when you close this, you see it's going to recalculate GL balances. So again, there's some time involved, but the system will do that for you. And then your audit, your financials, year-end financials will match your audit financials. To actually close the year under process, year-end close. Now, any other module, we have period end close. And I don't tend to use the phrase close. I tend to use the phrase advance the period because in any other module at any other time, you can always post back to a previous month. And same thing with General Ledger. You can post back to a previous month if you need to. But when you close the year, then you are done. And so then that particular year is finished. You're not going to be able to post anything back to it. You would have to go through the process there of prior year adjustments. And that would be the only way to enter those transactions. So I have shared with you everything that I could remember. If we have any questions, I would be delighted to hear them. Hopefully nobody, well, I see a lot of muted. So if you want to unmute yourself or you want to message me on the chat, I will be glad to address that.
Super thorough as always, Bob.
Thank you, sir. And Tammy, and I just got a shout out. Tammy, I'm glad to see you're here. That's not to say I'm not glad to see anybody else, but Tammy and I have been around each other for quite a while, and I'm glad to see she's here.
Can I ask a quick question? This is Helen Reese.
Helen, I wish you would.
Hi.
Hello, caller.
I'm with the Archdiocese of Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes.
And that feature that you showed of prior period adjustments.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, let's say you have 3 or 4 entries.
Mm-hmm.
Are you entering those in bulk? Like, let's say you have 3 or 4 entries and they all hit the same 4 accounts. Do you have to do that in bulk? Like, you have to do the sum totals, right? I mean, the prior period adjustment panel is not like for,
well, yeah,
it's not like you can put journal entries in there.
No.
You're just adjusting the balance, right?
Right. If I'm hearing you
okay.
right, So you've got a work paper or an Excel spreadsheet, whatever it is that you're using, and you've got 3 or 4 on your spreadsheet, you've got 3 or 4
Right.
lines for this account. You're going to total those, and that will be your one number
Right.
that goes in
Okay.
there. Yes, ma'am, you got it
Okay.
right.
That's okay.
You've got it exactly
All
right.
right. Thanks.
Any other questions?
I'll ask another one only because I use CYMA every day, but
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
I only know certain things about the system.
It's okay.
When we close one year and move to the next year, I think
Mm-hmm.
it renumbers all of our batches or something, or like we're no longer able.
No, that's not supposed to be the case.
So we can, like, let's say when I do journal entries,
Well,
I
stay
indicate,
with me for just a second. You see how
okay,
this is batch 406?
yes,
That's because we closed out 2019 and we went forward numbering from there. So that should not be
okay.
zeroing out. No.
Well, not zeroing out, but
Or starting back at 1, I should say.
so they do start back at 1,
No, they
or
do not. No, they do not. The numbering just
they do
continues to
not?
go forward. Right.
So let's say I want to look for a certain batch number and
Mm-hmm.
it's in the prior year
Mm-hmm.
that has been closed.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
I have written down on a journal entry sheet from prior year, it's batch number 5234, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that batch number anymore, is it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, the way you discover it is you go into entry listings. Now, here's what is true, and maybe this is what's throwing you, is that after you've closed the year, all that year's activity goes to history, and you
Right.
cannot
Okay.
you cannot pull anything up in enter transactions that went to history.
Right.
So you no longer have
But
access to that. But what you can do is you can come down here and you see the choices here for
right.
history, and you can say, I want to see that batch, and you can give it the batch number and review it from there. And here's where
Right.
we have, our batches that have already gone to history.
So in history, it's the same batch number that it has always been since you
Yes.
entered it, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right.
All right. Any other questions? Well, then, on behalf of Nathan and myself, thanks for being here. We are always here, eager to take your call, or willing to take your call, however you want to word that. And we hope everybody has a great 2021. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.